Introducing the newest phenom to the world of YouTube boxing.
Mom, I think you need a new phone. He's a speaker of some sort.
I think he's all of that, guy.
Oh my God, he's my idol.
He is Old Man Boxing.
What's good, YouTube? You know, sometimes I sit up here and, I think about this stuff. So I figure I'll go ahead and talk about it. I've been thinking about this for years too, man. I mean, it's been something that I've always wanted to say, abroad, but I never knew how to do that. And then not only that, I didn't think people would actually know what I'm talking about, because you would have to have lived what I'm talking about to understand it. So the title of this one is New Yorkers Have a Bad Reputation. And you know something? We do have a bad reputation. I've lived in a few places and I've spent time, in a few places, around the United States. And I've been out of the country. And New Yorkers have a bad reputation. I'm trying to tell you, around the world, really, but I'm just saying, especially here in the States. Okay, I was born and raised in New York City, South Bronx, and we had left when I was like 20 years old, because I mean, when your mother got bullet holes in the car and you got two baby sisters, it's like, yo, look, we gotta do something. And the whole New York City was wild at that time, so all this stuff about it was just one area over here. It was, man, you can get shot anywhere at them times. I'm talking about like 80, 83, 84, all the way up to the 90s, you know what I'm saying? It was wild, it was a crazy place. There's a lot of things people didn't know that was going on there. It was like TV style shit, execution style killings, and all kinds of stuff, man. So, it was really rough at that time. And, that's the type of mindset that I grew up around and what I took on, along with, the mindset of my parents and my grandmothers and like that. But the streets is really the mindset that I took on to, but when we had moved, I had that typical I ain't gonna say typical, but I had a real strong street New York attitude. Well, I could say typical when it comes to the streets. Mind your business, stay out my business, don't say shit to me, I don't know you and I don't want to know you. That was my attitude, because my thing is, I was young, man, and I was stupid phone, and you know what I'm saying, I just, my mindset was just totally different. I had wisdom, but I was nowhere near as wise as I am now. Nowhere near it. I had that. You could set me off like that. Just angry, and then and you move down to the South, it's hot. And people, me and my brother look so much alike, they were mistaking me for him. And do I look like him to you, man? Yo, man, you know what I'm saying? And just angry, man. I was an angry dude. But what I did is, after a while, because people down, especially in Florida and Georgia and places like that, they'll speak to you and don't even know you. And that shit just don't go on up there. There's just that many people, where you can't know everybody. Maybe in your neighborhood or in your building. More than likely, if you was born and raised in that neighborhood, or in that building, which a lot of that goes on, ain't too much moving around going on up there, because shit is expensive. So if you get you something good, you more than likely gonna keep it as long as the hell you can. You know what I'm saying? Something that got a good price to it and it's a decent spot. Yeah, hell yeah, you gonna hold on to that shit. Compared to the big ass extravagant prices they got up there. But anyway, so I conformed myself. And I decided, you know what, let me go ahead and conform to this. And then once I started conforming to it, and I started to get to know the people in the South, you know, and I got to know their ways, I noticed their attitude towards me. And it wasn't that I was doing anything different. I was basically quiet and watching, and I'll join in on conversations, and we'll be laughing, but I would notice how they would look at me, and it would be different. Because here's one thing about growing up in New York, and I know a lot of New Yorkers will agree. In New York, there's an attitude there, and it's like most New Yorkers have, and I ain't gonna say a heavy chip, but most New Yorkers have a chip on their shoulder. I don't care what, and y'all can try to, anybody can deny that all the hell they want to. I don't care what, you'll be lying. Most New Yorkers have a chip on their shoulder. Most New Yorkers have confidence in themselves. They know what they can do, who they are, and then you ain't knocking them off their square. You know what I'm saying? And that's an attitude that we take everywhere with us. There's a confidence that we have. You know what I'm saying? And when we go other places, we take that confidence with us. Because let me tell you something. There is a lot of competition in New York City. Millions of people, millions upon millions, and that's just, and I ain't even counting the people who don't live in New York, but they commute to New York. So you have that much more competition. So yeah, you damn real, you better have a confidence about yourself and know what the hell you're doing, because somebody can take your job like that. It's that fast. You know what I'm saying? So, we have that about us, and when we know something, we know something. There, you don't have to keep telling me about it, because see, we will voice our opinion, and we will tell you if you're being over excessive on something. That's just something that's just ingrained in us at a young age. Up there, because that's the way it is. You learn to stand up for yourself. I know things have changed now. I don't know how much it's changed, but that chip on the shoulder, and not only that, New Yorkers have a meanness to them. Say what the hell you want. We do have a meanness to us. Because, look, New York has a deep history, and y'all really have to dig into that history. But let me jump back. I'm giving you just a little bit of the New York attitude, because when you go somewhere else, people tend to take that as you acting like you're all of that, and that's not the case. But here is the kicker. I bumped into a lot of dudes who claimed they was from New York, and they sat up there and they said, I asked them, hey, what part of New York you from? One dude, is one cat. I mean, this dude was walking hard as nails, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, look at this dude, man. God, he acting all like this. Y'all know what I mean. The dudes, anybody who been on New York, and you see the dude who was just off the chisel, who ain't give a fuck, you know what I'm saying? And he was like, I guess probably got out of prison, thought he was the hardest dude. Probably was the hardest dude out there, and he was walking and coming through, just strolling. You just watch him, you don't say nothing, because he'll go off on you or flip on you. You know what I'm saying? Y'all, that type of dude. But this guy wasn't that type of dude, but he had that type of attitude. And I'm looking at him. So I decided to ask him. I said, yo, what part of New York you from? He said, Brooklyn. I said, what part of Brooklyn? He said, Queens. I said, yo. Hold on, bro. First of all, Brooklyn and Queens is two different boroughs. Now, if I say Brooklyn, you're going to name Flatbush, you're going to name something. Brownsville, you're going to name something. You don't just say Queens. I said, man, you ain't from New York. He's like, and he kind of smirked a little bit. I was like, where you from? He's like, well, I'm from Barbados, but I moved to New York when I was 18 or whatever. So you ain't from New York, chump? What you talking about? See, this type of person been going around all them neighborhoods, pulling New York, but from Barbados, and acting like he's the hardest thing in the world, giving New York a bad name. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of that goes on because they lived in New York for a certain amount of time. They claim New York. If you ain't born and raised there, you ain't from New York. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you're raised there, you can say you're from New York. You can say that. But if you're born in Barbados and raised in New York, that's what you need to say. You know what I'm saying? Because there are people who are born and raised in New York getting a bad reputation, you know, for people who are not, who are coming there when they're 18, and then they'll leave there when they're like 25, and all of a sudden they from New York. You know what I'm saying? And here's another thing that I hear a lot of people say. They say to me, oh, you don't sound like you from New York. That tells me right there that y'all know absolutely nothing about New York City. Because everybody in New York City don't talk like that. You know what I'm saying? Everybody in New York City don't talk like this. Like, for instance, when I went back to visit home some years ago, and my homeboy, I ain't gonna mention his name, but he was still alive. And I was like, yo, what's up, my man? I was like, what's up, bro? You know what I'm saying? What's yo, yada yada yada. My man said, yo, I was like what you got going on? My man said, yo, I'm parlaying. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, everybody don't talk like that, man. Everybody in New York don't talk like that. My ex-girlfriend, who owns her own law firm, she talks like a Valley girl. You know what I'm saying? And she from the South Bronx. If she answered the phone, you would think there was a white woman on the phone. You would not know that that's a black woman. You know what I'm saying? And she from the South Bronx, born and raised. That's how I know that a lot of you folks don't know nothing about New York, because you think everybody got to have that deep, hard New York accent. Man, get out of here. You know what I'm saying? But New Yorkers do have a bad reputation, and is due to some New Yorkers also. I bumped into some New Yorkers who was real New Yorkers, and I knew that they were. But dude he didn't have a chip on his shoulder. He had a boulder on his shoulder. And it's like, God damn, bro, it ain't that serious. You know what I'm saying? Yo, chill. You know what I'm saying? You ain't out there in Brooklyn or the Bronx, Manhattan, Queens on the streets. This is a whole different animal out here. And if you don't conform to it, you're going to wind up just like the other guys in jail, because you can't, you instead of you saying, look, all right, I'm not at home, let me chill, let me relax, you coming up there with that home attitude, at least the home street attitude. And that's the worst thing to do. Because the one thing about the South is them cops will get your ass in a heartbeat, man. They don't fucking play, man. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no breaks, and then they gonna find out they gonna find out you from New York, and in the North and the South, little attitude thing is still there. They still talk shit about each other. I hear it all the time. But anyway, I just wanted to expound on that a little bit. Old Man Boxing signing out. Peace.